And again, we'll be getting started relatively soon. And again, it is being recorded. I do have everyone muted so we don't get all the background noise. Don't worry about that. You're still able to ask questions. All you have to do is go on your space bar and wiggle it, and you become unmuted. We'll give you plenty of opportunities to ask questions. I'm going to be giving a lot of, well, not a lot, but I'll be giving you some very important information on marketing that could help you. And since it's 5 minutes after 7, we're going to get started. We're going to be respectful of everyone's time. There might be people coming in. As they come in, I'll let them in, and you know, we shouldn't have any challenge. And again, this is being recorded, and this one's going to be on marketing. And since we're on marketing, there's a couple things that I wanted to mention. And for example, one of them was that in regards to the original website that a lot of the original members have gotten, we're not changing that as of yet. We went with this new website, and it's for all of you. And the new website, there's more control over, and there's a lot more features to it. And the features you'll start to see as time goes on, where we're able to do things to it that are done automatically to all the websites so that everyone benefits. We don't have the store in this new one yet. There will be a store. Now, as we put the store in, we're going to take down the store on your old website. Now I'm going to turn on this light above me so that you can see me better. Sometimes the light is not very good, and I want you to be able to see how wonderful I look. The old store, we weren't able to change the prices, and therefore we have prices that are inaccurate. That's one problem. The other problem with the old store is that it doesn't work like it's supposed to, and I'll explain that to you. See, when someone purchases something, it's listed, so you got a record where you go in the back end. The problem is, if they go and put it in their basket, it's put in the back end, whether they buy it or not. If they decide not to buy it, it's still in that, shows up back there, but it wasn't a real sale. So that was one problem. The biggest problem was we couldn't adjust prices. So on the new store, we're using a little different format where we're able to change the prices, we're able to add things very easily. And the way it will work is you'll get your money literally within 48 hours of the sale. It'll automatically be sent to you. We're using a processing system called Stripe on that store. And the reason why I'm using that is because PayPal charges a fee when we take the money, and when we give you the money, they charge us a fee, plus they charge you a fee. So it's Stripe, it won't be that way. It'll actually save everyone a little bit of money. We pay the fee when they buy the stuff, but it won't be charging a fee to give you the money. So, and you could understand that it isn't much, but it does add up. So as this new site gets going, we're going to have a store in there. The old site will eventually be moved over to a newer format too. We're not giving up your site, we're just changing it a little. And the reason we're changing it is because we'll be able to have more control and do more. This is especially important since we're talking about marketing, because we're going to be giving you ammunition to market, and we're going to be marketing to actually get you business. That's one of our main goals. The other thing is that when we were making these whiteboards and some of these videos, we couldn't put them on your website. And what Craig Berry wanted to add them to the website really became a bit of a challenge. So what we're doing is now we're going to be able to add these videos right to your website without any challenge, and where it goes very nice and smoothly. So that's one thing that we're doing for marketing. Now, when we talk about the marketing, there's something else. This is what you're going to see very, very soon. If you all remember, I was mentioning you need to get that electrostatic sprayer. You need to get this, the Zuno and everything. Well, as you saw what happened, we got nailed with this coronavirus in a pretty big way. This virus is not going to go away. We're going to be stuck with this virus for at least 2 more years. Now, what I'm going to share with you is some information that, you know, a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's the facts. We're going to be stuck with it. And this coronavirus, it's in a family, and believe it or not, it's in the same family as the cold and the flu. It's going to be around even when they have the vaccination. It's going to be like the flu vaccination. And see, last year, 80,000 people died from the flu. The sad thing with this virus is it really tears apart old people, people with underlying health conditions, also people that are overweight. So it is a pretty nasty virus, but it's something that's going to be around for a while. So people are going to be cleaning for health. Now that's a positive for us because we got the most fantastic products for doing that. But now we're going to run into something that's going to be really, really scary. We're headed for a depression, recession, whatever you want to call it. The next year, possibly 2, it's going to be rough for a lot of businesses to make it. It's going to be rough on a lot of people. They're doing the shutdown again. It's going to be touch and go, and we haven't even hit the flu season yet. There's going to be a lot of companies that are going out of business. So we're going to have to be very, very aggressive with our marketing, and extremely aggressive. We're going to give you some programs to help you. I'm going to give you facts. Whether you follow the facts or not, whether you do them, that's up to you. But if you don't, you're going to find yourself sitting with your finger up your butt. And there's no nice way to say it. We're going to have to start doing some things for marketing that are a whole lot different than what we have been. The last couple of years has been very easy. So the last couple of years has been very easy, but it's now going to become very hard. People are not going to have the money that they had before. So we're going to have to get them to understand that they need to use us. We're going to be putting together a lot of marketing programs, and when you see some of them, you might scratch your head and go, well, you know, that's something that was done 15 or 20 years ago. Yes, it was done 15 or 20 years ago during the last recession. And it was done 30 or 40 years ago when there was a recession back then. There's nothing new under the sun. You gotta follow the basic steps. If you don't, you're gonna be left in the dust. So there'll be a lot of things we do that as you hear and you see, you might go, wow, hey, that reminds me somewhat of Joe Polish, or, well, that's probably the age that most of you here are. I'd go back further, some of you would really scratch your head and you know how old I really am. And like I say, there's nothing new under the sun. And when I say that, I kind of laugh because a lot of people, Joe Polish had the free room, Howard Partridge had the free 200 square feet. And it was kind of funny because I would sit there and listen how they would both say how they invented it. And the reality is, I met a man named, his last name was Marshall. And I met him just before he passed away. In 1938, 39, matter of fact, Don's here, he used to work for the company. There was a company called Home Services out of Racine, Wisconsin. And they would do a free room of carpet cleaning in the late 1930s. So that's how old it is. By the way, Home Services changed their name to DuraClean. They're a worldwide franchise. And if you ever look on their website, you'll see a truck from the 1938, 39, and it says call for a free demo. Well, that was a free room. And it was very interesting because I was able to sit down with Mr. Marshall and I said, how did you come up with that idea? And he said, I stole it from the Zinsser Paint Company in the 1900s, early 1900s. They used to paint a free room, so there's nothing new. So when you see some of these things that we're going to be giving you, while they might sound corny, they work. So it's very important. Now, for marketing today, there's been a whole lot of questions about chlorine dioxide and the stabilized one. And I want to show you the SDS sheet, and I want to go through it to explain it to you so you could answer customers' questions. But more importantly, there's little tidbits that you could take out. And the reason I'm doing that is you're going to have to start marketing yourself. And what you're all going to really need to do is start building an email list. Hopefully you could also get the people's names and addresses, because eventually you're going to want to mail them, be it a newsletter or a postcard. Nothing beats the U.S. mail. We have the best postal system in any country. When people get something, they look at it. The amount of postage and junk mail they get has went down, so they really pay attention. So you're going to have to really start looking at that from a whole different perspective. So I urge you to make sure you get the list. I'm going to urge all of you, especially now with us heading into this recession, you need to put together a business Facebook page. It's very easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything, but you need a business Facebook page. You're going to need it to market. What you're going to discover is it is going to help you with your rating of your website. The other thing you're all going to need to do is get your own YouTube channel. Now, in a future meeting, we're going to have Matt show all of you how to get your YouTube channel. He's going to make a little video, extremely easy. We're going to be giving you some videos where you're going to be able to put in that YouTube channel. We're putting them on your website for you. But what happens is when they are on your website, and when you set up that YouTube channel and you put them on the YouTube channel, and then you also put them on the YouTube, Facebook, and your website, your organic ratings jump up like you cannot believe. So it's very important that you, one, get your Facebook page for your business. Extremely important. It's important that very soon we're going to show you how to get a YouTube channel. Now, there's also something called linking. You're going to want to get involved with it, but just wait till I get someone who's going to give a very nice webinar about how to do linking properly. If you do it wrong, you're toast. If you do it right, you'll be amazed at the connections you'll make. But the connections will be more in the commercial world, in the business world, but they could be very, very valuable connections. So remember, we're going to be giving you a lot of things to do, a lot of information, a lot of ways to help you. We're headed into a recession. We're going to have to change the way we've been doing business, the way we've been thinking. You need to get yourself a business Facebook page. You're going to need to get yourself a YouTube channel. Now, if you don't know how on the YouTube channel, don't worry, we're going to be doing a video on it. We'll eventually be doing stuff for you for Lincoln to help you with that, to walk you through it. On Lincoln, I urge you to hold off. And the reason I urge you to hold off is because it is complicated like you cannot believe to do it right. So I'll get someone who will come on, will explain how they do it, and they'll give you lots of good information. And who knows how that could develop as we move on. Now, we're going to, Kevin Funkhauser, one of our members, and this is the other thing, you guys got to get to know each other. Kevin, and that's where Facebook comes in handy. Kevin does a fantastic job in Indianapolis, Indiana. He really does a very good job. Very, very nice man. Matter of fact, just about all of our members, as you get to know them, you're going to be like, my gosh, I would love to sit down and have dinner with any of them because they're all so kind and friendly and just good-hearted people. Well, Kevin Funkhauser, he started to send out some emails, and he sent them to me, and he says, what do I think of them? And I looked at him and I said, well, Kevin, they're crap. And fortunately, I have a relationship where I can tell him the truth. And this is why we need you to get email addresses, because you're going to have to start marketing yourself to your customers. You're going to have to start emailing them on a regular basis, but you can't email them and say, I want your business. Perfect example of this, I see that Ed's on here from Texas. Ed does an unbelievable job with talking to realtors. He really has taken that to the next level and really perfected it. And one day we're going to get him on here and interview him where he can share some of the things he has done. He has taken that to the nth degree and just does a fantastic job. But you want to email these people on a regular basis, but what you need to start doing them is letting them know who you are. Let them know how long you've been in business. Perfect example, I see Badger Carpet here. That man's, how long have you been in business? I'm gonna unmute you so you could tell us. How long have you been in business? And tell everyone your name from Badger Carpet. Hopefully he could use his mic. Or he won't get too embarrassed. He's been in business a long time, and that's what you want to do in the email. You want to tell the people, hey, I'm your carpet cleaner, if you're a carpet cleaner. I've been doing this type of service for X amount of years now. Okay, I mean, very important. We want to let everyone know, your customers especially, how long you've been doing this. And that you've been doing cleaning, deodorization, remediation, and handling tough situations like this for years. That way, they don't think you're just some fly-by-night. Tim Miller uses a fantastic term that dates back well over to the Civil War time, a carpetbagger, where you're just coming in and you're trying to grab hold. And if you look at everyone that's offering disinfection services, you can understand that. So you want to start emailing them and letting them know who you are. You want to give them some good information. I'm going to go to a different web page here, and this is from Bing. And Bing is spelled B-I-N-G. And when you go on Bing, one of the top stories is news about the COVID-19 6 types. So if you took some of this information right here, and when you email them, you put a little paragraph. In other words, you don't have to make anything really extravagant or long. All you need is like 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. But if you made one paragraph talking about the COVID-19 and what they're discovering, and warning everyone, hey, you know, please make sure that you wash your hands, use a hand sanitizer, have a paragraph where they're safe, and then a paragraph about you, your company, some of the certifications you have. Don't go into depth, just a little bit, because you're going to email them every week with some new information about the COVID, some new information about yourself. What you're doing is you're building a rapport so that they're listening to you. This is extremely important. So you can go to Bing, you can get lots of information about this virus. And when you do get it, you send it just a little bit, because you're going to see, hey, it lives 17 days on hard surfaces. It has many different types. It's mutating. This is really important. You want to send them little bits. Now, this SDS sheet for the liquid stabilize, I'm going to show you how to explain it to customers and so that you understand. When you look at the SDS sheet, what you're going to notice is that it talks about the name, the general use. But then in section 2, it says hazardous identification. This is where you have to explain to the people that liquid stabilized chlorine dioxide is an oxidizer. So as an oxidizer, there's warnings that must go with all oxidizers at the beginning of the SDS sheet. And that's to conform with the OSHA. And that's what you see right at the section 2, where they start with the warning, talking about that it is an oxidizer and that it may intensify fires because it adds oxygen. There is something important to see here, and that's the single word warning. We sell a powdered stabilized chlorine dioxide. It's a 30-gram packet, and for your knowledge, it's only 29.5 grams. But if you looked at the SDS sheet of that, you'll see the word danger. The single word there is danger. This is important. That stabilized and destabilized are not the same. Even though they are both chlorine dioxide, even though they are stabilized, they are made differently. They produce the chlorine dioxide differently. There is a very big difference. Again, when you look at the single word warning and danger, that'll give you an idea. They're different. That product was designed to remove urine stains, while this one it will do so much more. So when you go to this part, you explain to the people the truth. Because it's an oxidizer, and section 2, they have to have all the warnings for all oxidizers. And then when you go to section 3, it talks about what the product is. It is actually called sodium chloride. Our sodium chloride, when mixed with water, makes the chlorine dioxide. Now, that's how most of them are made. Some are made with other little different formulas, and that's very important because some of them become very acidic and could corrode things very fast, especially if you, I won't mention the name, but especially like if you're mixing the part A and B together and you dump it down a stainless steel sink, you'll discover that was a no-no. So ours is sodium chloride, okay? Then as you go to first aid, what you want to explain to them is this is the standard first aid for all oxidizers. It says wash the eyes for 10 minutes, wash the skin with plenty of soap and water, get to fresh air. And you explain to them, this is what has to be on all the SDS sheets at the beginning for oxidizers. When you go to section 5, it talks about how to put it out. And you'll notice you could put out a fire with this, with water, powder, carbon dioxide. It's because it's an oxidizer, it adds oxygen. So that's what gets people a little worried. But if you take the liquid stabilize and you light a match and hold it right over it, it won't burn. I was on the phone today and it was kind of hilarious because they did a test with it. They used a propane torch and held it to it, and all it did was get it to evaporate. I kind of laughed. They really wanted to make sure, but that was the government. Then when you go to section 6, it talks about all the emergency equipment that you need to wear. And again, this is for all oxidizers. They have to have this. So this is the standard form. And then when you get to section, it talks about the proper way to handle all oxidizers. So again, what you're explaining to them, the first beginning of the SDS sheet is what is required by law. And you'll notice that only in approved packages, which are approved by the DOT, that's the Department of Transportation, That's for most oxidizers. That's why when you buy the products like the tablets and everything, you have that hazardous shipping fee. You'll notice with the liquid stabilizer, there is no hazardous shipping fee because it is not a hazard. As we go on, that'll make a little bit more sense to you. Then you'll start getting to where they talk about threshold. Now they're talking about this product. And you'll notice there's no available information or no data available because there is no threshold with this. In other words, what we're using is very, very safe, okay? They say you could wear eye protection, but as we go on, you'll understand that. And then as we go to the skin protection, this is standard universal precautions for using any product. And what it basically says is, wear gloves, make sure you have adequate ventilation, things of that nature. Now we're getting into the characteristics of the products, and we're getting into what we have. You'll notice that this is a liquid, and they actually say that the odor is an orange citrus aroma. How they came up with that, I have no idea. Even the one that's a fragrance, I don't know how they came up with this orange citrus. It has a little bit of a lemon fragrance, but some people, because of that citrus, says it smells like a flower. But you'll notice the pH of our product, and this is where you want to bring them, is 9.5. So it is not corrosive. The other thing, you see the melting point and freezing point hasn't been determined. In other words, there's no melting point or freezing point other than water. Initial boiling point and range not determined, same as water. Flash point not determined. This is important. That flash point means it does not burn. Okay, so flammability, not relevant. It's a fluid, it doesn't burn. Explosive, not determined. All these things where they say not determined means you don't have to worry. Explosive property, none. It is an oxidizer. But this is showing how safe it is. Now this is where it gets even better. When you get to section 10, it talks about things to avoid. And when you look at 10.3, no known hazardous reactions. So this stuff is extremely safe. Okay, and as you go on, it's incompatible with combustible materials because it's a liquid. It'll actually put a fire out. And there's nothing to worry about it decomposing when storing. When you go to a section 11, this is where you get some other things. Shall not be classified as toxic, acutely toxic. It shall not be classified as a corrosive or skin irritant. Shall not be classified as seriously damaging to the eyes or an eye irritant. Shall not be classified as a respiratory or skin sensitizer. In other words, you could drink this stuff without any problem. And Curtis Blossom's not online now, but he did drink it accidentally. We just laughed. He just had to eat yogurt because it kills the good bacteria in your stomach. As you go down, shall not be classified, and this is important. It doesn't cause germs to mutate. It's non-carcinogenic, and it's not a reproductive toxin. So it's extremely safe. As you go down, it has no organs that it have to worry about, where some of the products go right into the body, get absorbed, they attack the liver or the thyroid. This doesn't. It's not classified as any hazard at all for breathing or asphyxiation. It's not hazardous to the aquatic environment, meaning it could be dumped down any drain. Technically, it could even go into a storm sewer, but don't, because there might be something in your water other than this, and that could create a challenge there. So never dump your dirty water in the storm sewer, always into a sanitary sewer. So as you go down with this, and you start looking, you'll see water. So it's very easy. Do not, and then when you get to section 13, you refer to special instructions on safe daily sheet. They don't want you dumping anything that you shouldn't down a sanitary sewer. But this could go into any where your sink water goes without any problem. Then when you start looking for transportation, for packaging, nothing. It's able to be shipped. It is non-hazardous. Now here's where you really get them. This SDS sheet, where it's not hazardous to your eyes, not hazardous to your skin, not hazardous to breathe. This is for the concentrated. You're mixing it. That'll give you an idea how safe it is. So as you take a look at all these other things, you'll see when you get to the categories, flammability a 1, okay? Preheated ignition can, the material must be preheated before ignition can be attained. Well, you would have to get this so hot it totally evaporates. There is nothing to be worried about. It is an oxidizer, so it releases oxygen. That's why on the flammability that it is a 1. So it is about as safe could be. And that's basically what the SDS sheet will show. It's just this way you know what to show people. But what's important is when you're emailing people, you're going to let them know that when you're going in, and if you're going to clean a house, be it a carpet clean, be it a tile clean, whatever you're going to do, that you're going to use this, the same process that's used to treat their water that they drink, to remove these germs, bacteria, and allergens. And you can take little tidbits. Remember I said you want to email them on a regular basis? You want to let them know that your process is not an eye or skin irritant, that your process does not allow germs to mutate. You're giving them all this good information on a weekly basis. You should email your customers weekly. Now, another thing where this will become a very big benefit is when you do this email and you put that little paragraph of the product that we're using when we're treating your house or place of business is not an eye or skin irritant. That will give you an opportunity to do what is called a blog. And we're going to be helping you with those blogs. We're also going to be helping you with breaking this information down. So when you do your little email marketing, you'll have something to give to people. So what we're doing is a whole program. Your website is just a way to get people to get your attention. So the way we're going to get this ranking up, and by the way, you're able to put this on your own website as well. Our website is not a replacement for your website. You keep your website, this is an additional one. But what we're doing is you're going to have a blog, you're going to have Facebook, you're going to have a YouTube channel. When you start combining all that, what that does is it organically raises your rating to where you're going to actually get on the first page of Google. And that's important. And Google's the main one which everyone goes by, and it's the big search engine, and that's the one that we're going to be working on to get your organic rating up so that when people look for the service, they're going to find you. So what we're doing is a whole program, and we're going to be giving you the ammunition, but you're going to need to get yourself your business Facebook page up. You're going to need to get a YouTube channel. Now, if you're not sure how to do it, don't worry. We'll be having Matt do a little video showing you how easy it is to set up that Facebook channel. You're going to want to start making sure that you got your customers' email, but also make sure you got their address. Now, this is another important thing because you're going to have to start marketing smart. And this is something that when I mention it to a lot of cleaners, they're like, believe me, you have no idea how important this is. go and buy a physical map of the city, the area that you actually work in. Go to Office Depot, Staples, Office Max, whatever it's called, and buy those itty bitty pins, those little bitty red pins. Get yourself a cork board to put the map on and get a big map. I'm not talking a little one, a big one. You put it on your wall. And then you go through every job you've done and you put that pin in. This is extremely important because you're going to discover that you got clusters where you get the most work. And this will show you areas where you don't get work. And see, with this recession, cash is going to be king. You can't waste it. You're going to discover there's areas you don't get any work. For you to waste your time marketing in there, you're just throwing your money out the window. What you're going to discover is clusters, and that's where you're really going to want to hit them. And that's where, with the direct mail, things like everyday direct mail, it will be so important. So I actually have given you a lot when you really think about it. 1, get a Facebook page. 2, get a map. 3, start building your list of emails. Start building your list of actual addresses. And with that map, you're going to be surprised. You're also going to find out where all your work is, and it will also help you with booking jobs. And when we start doing some of the marketing, you don't really want to go 20 miles from your house unless you live out in the country. You want to be able to be right near where your place is so that your travel time is not ridiculous. And you're going to want to do it where your clusters are of jobs. So getting that map is really very important. Also remember, as we go on with this, we're going to ask you to do some things where you might be like, huh? You know, that sounds kind of corny. Yes, it might sound corny, but it works. We have to market ourselves like we never had before because we're really getting into some unique times with this recession, we'll call it. You're going to be amazed how many companies are going to be laying people off. You're going to be amazed how many people are not going to have a job. You're going to see where the commercial buildings are going to take a tremendous hit. Numerous leases are being canceled. Why? These businesses are going out of business or they're not bringing the people back. And I mean everything from insurance companies to the high-tech companies to department stores. Look how many have filed bankruptcy already. And the airline industry, as soon as their money runs out, they're talking about major layoffs of people. So we're really going to have a challenge. Now, this Liquid Stabilize is a very unique product. We're going to be adding a new product with it because we've been asked to by so many of the members. And it's going to be the Liquid Stabilizer with the cleaner with it. So it'll be like putting this on steroids. You'll find many, many uses for it. Now, another thing that has just happened, a lot of people have been asking for this. And it was really kind of funny because I had another member call and say, I need this real bad. And I called Ed Zuno and he says, Craig, you've been driving me nuts on this. I just got the okay, we got it, we're going to have it. The Zuno hand sanitizer, we know the hell we went through. We still don't have the 150s. They're waiting for that plastic to come in. The 50s they have, and they got a whole bunch more coming in. But the reality is, and what I mentioned to Ed was quite simple, is that when, let's see, where's my, well, because I'm on this Zoom with this board, with the hand sanitizer, when it runs out, I told people that they could put the surface shield in there because it's actually the same thing. The only difference is that the hand sanitizer had a little bit of like an alcohol in it to give it a fragrance. Well, what Ed did, what they're going to have, is you could buy the hand sanitizer in a gallon or a liter, so you could refill these. So keep that in mind. You could actually refill. You could buy, for example, if you have an office, you could buy the 500 milliliter, the desktop, and you could refill them for the people. You could offer them a deal like that. And what's nice is the gallon is your cost is $110. The retail of that's going to be well over $180, but you're getting it for $110. So you could refill these sprayers for the people. And the sprayers in hand sanitizer, just so you know, is going to be a nightmare for the next 2 years. The EPA and the FDA is coming down really big on a lot of hand sanitizers. Everyone got into the hand sanitizer business, and they've been using alcohol, and they're running into some real challenges now. So you're going to be hearing a whole lot about hand sanitizers and all the challenges with them. So you're going to be very happy to see that with it coming in gallons, it will make a really nice opportunity for us. And if you wanted to get yourself some little bottles and say, here, just put a drop of this in your hands and rub it, you're welcome to, and you could put your name on it. I could care less about that. You're able to do a whole lot of neat things with this. So, and also you're going to see we're going to have some urine products available to you. What we're also going to have for you very shortly is everyone likes to give a bottle of spotter to their customer. Where we're going to have where you could buy little spotter bottles to give to your customer with your name and phone number and website on it, and literally the same price that you would buy them from John Don or Bridgepoint Ramsco for. But the difference is the product will be green, and it will out clean all the other ones that you have seen like you cannot believe. But where you're able to give you that competitive edge, you'll be able to tell people this not only removes the spot and stain, it eliminates and removes the germs and bacteria and viruses. Now, I've been talking a long time, and like I said, we don't want to keep you long. Are there any questions about anything that I went over? If there are, I'm going to unmute you. Well, just rub your space bar and you're able to talk, or you could type it in the chat. So if anyone has any questions, now is the time to ask. And does everyone here have their business Facebook page up? Is there anyone that does not? I mean, it's very easy to do. You just go right to Facebook and you type it in. So any questions from anybody? Man, this is unbelievable. Did I do that good of a job that no one's asking questions? Let me figure out how to unmute everybody, just in case I got you muted. Let's see. I'm not a genius with this. Currently all participants allow them to unmute themselves. Yes, okay, okay. You all could unmute yourself. Okay, I see two things here. I don't know what that means. Chat too, okay. I'm learning how to do this, so please. Website for Australia. Oh, Gary from Australia. Gary, let me find out about that. There should be no problem. The only thing is, you have a different thing at the back that we have to do. So let me find out about that. Any questions from anyone else? Ed, do you have a question?
Yeah, Craig, can you hear me?
Whoa, yes, you're coming in beautiful.
Okay, great. You said that the stabilized has a 9.5 pH level. Can you explain pH levels?
Oh, sure. I will be happy to. Let me explain that where it makes a little bit of sense to you. And I'm going to do it real simple. Theoretically, anything with a liquid is either an acid or an alkaline. When I say a liquid, that means it has water in it. And we use pH to describe if it's an acid or an alkaline, and it refers to the activity of the hydrogen atoms. Now, in our industry, we use a scale that's 0 to 14. Really not like that in the real world, but that's what we use. 7 is neutral. Each number away from 7, these hydrogen atoms, the power of them increases. So, perfect example. I know that you love pizza. You go out and you get a nice spicy pizza, and it's late at night, and your stomach gets a little upset. That's the acid bothering you. You take a couple Tums, that's an alkaline that neutralizes it. In the cleaning world, the acids and alkaline are very important because we use most soils on the acid side, so we use an alkaline to neutralize it. That's why the liquid stabilized cleans so well, because it's the opposite of soil and it removes it. And Sean, I know you're on the line, that product that they were using is an acid. So acids will etch things like stone and that, where this product, being an alkaline, is a great cleaner and doesn't cause damage to anything waterborne. That help you a little, Ed?
Yeah, you said 0 to 14 is the range.
For that we use. It actually in the real world is a little different. There's negative numbers. And if you went to the library and got a college chemistry book and you looked under pH, the chapter's usually about 14 to 19 pages. Most people get through at least 2 paragraphs before they throw the book down and go, I quit. I mean, it is really that complicated. It's like, oh my God, my head hurts. In carpet cleaning, a 7, which is neutral, like distilled water, would be like the thickness of a sheet of paper. A 10 would be like 7 inches, the glass of water, but a 13 would be like the Washington Monument, 555 feet tall. And since the dyes are put in on the acid side, if we use too high of a pH, we damage the dyes. A lot of the products out there are an acid, because acid will kill germs and bacteria, but they will cause things to etch and do other damage. For example, the stainless steel sinks, when you mix the 2 parts of the chlorine dioxide to make the gas, that's a strong acid. So if you put it in a stainless steel sink, zappo, it rusted like crazy. So where the stabilized won't do anything.
You know, I rusted another sink yesterday.
And don't tell everyone that, guys. We're told.
I didn't wash the chemicals in the sink, but it was a curry home, very high degree. So I used 2 500s in about a 1,500 square foot area. And it put rust on the sink, it put rust on the dishwasher.
Okay, you're in Texas. I think it's called Bartender's Helper by you. You go to Ace Hardware. It's called either Bartender's Helper or Bartender's Keeper. And you get some 0000 steel wool. You go with the grain and you could remove it. It's a pain in the butt. Don't do it. And why do you go with the 500 grams? Bigger is not necessarily better. You're not a teenager anymore. You don't need the biggest and the most powerful. Go with smaller. It might take longer, but it will work much better for you.
So if I would go in with a couple of 100 kits, that would work better with a 4-hour, 6-hour gas off?
It'll take at least 6 hours, but yeah, because you're, 2 500s and 1,500 square feet, that's powerful. I mean,
I know that the 500s were recalibrated, but I remember right after Harvey, Don Watson I had not used 500, and Don Watson came down and was helping me, and he said he uses a 500 for every 500 square feet.
He does. He's talking about dealing with mold.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. He's trying to kill the height of the mold and really go overboard. And a lot of people like to do a lot of shortcuts to try to save themselves a little bit of labor. If you don't have time to do it right the first time, you got to find a time to do it right the second time. So just keep that in mind.
I did have a funny experience last month. I did a 3-story townhome, and I did it with 2 500s on the first level and the third level. And when I came back the next morning, all my equipment was gone. I called the realtor to find out what happened, and they said, oh, at 10:58 at night, I set off the fire alarm.
Okay.
So the fire department took my equipment. But the cannabis odor was gone. That was what was more important.
Well, yes, it was. And by the way, I got a question. I want to make sure I answer this too. What happens is, let me read this question. Using stabilized diluted and applying it with electrostatic sprayer can disrust stainless. Not ours. There is another chlorine dioxide that's very popular in our industry, and that is called vinyl oxide. Okay, vinyl oxide is also chlorine dioxide, but they have ammonia chloride in it. So when you talk to them, they push a ULB fogger, because when it goes through an electrostatic, it raises the electrical charge, and it can. Ours does not. You don't have to worry about stainless steel with our product or any electronics or metal. And Joe, you asked a question. Oh, I get it. He was telling you for the stainless steel sink that you would use a maroon pad. If you go to a store, like a janitorial supply store, they sell these VCT pads that come in different colors, and the maroon one to polish the stainless will also take care of that problem for you.
Yeah, I only know that because of bad experience with stainless. And if you go on YouTube, you can learn how to polish stainless. I've got acid on a stainless a long time ago. It's about $800 to replace the front of a fridge. So what I found out was these plastics we've been using on floors for years, you cut them into little squares and you rub a red maroon pad. It's called a 3M prep pad. It'll make your grill and the stainless look like brand new without any chemicals, like just water. So use a red one and a white one. And I found that all on YouTube. That's how I found it. So you might want to start putting plastic on that stainless with 500.
Yeah, I put plastic over it and duct tape to cover it. And
500s are strong.
500, yeah. I noticed that one. My mask is just not doing the trick.
I only used those years ago when I had a house that was gutted. There was nothing left in it, and we couldn't get the urine out of the concrete under the tile. And I had to go back and do the 500s overnight. But typically, it's only on a gutted house that stuff is pretty strong.
Yeah, 500 is very strong, and there's a lot of people that, like you mentioned, Don Watson, very nice man. He really goes overboard. He loves those 500s. He's big into the company called Pervasive now, and he's pushing their products. And I kind of laugh because if you used it, the odor is really something else. And if anyone here does do mold, and as long as this is being recorded, if you take a 20-gram tablet and put it in a gallon and a half of water, and if you got any staining from mold, if you spray it with it, one, you're not going to choke. It's not going to eat this hole in your skin. It isn't as fast as the other products, but overnight, it bleaches all the mold out. It kills the hyphae and everything. And if you do it in gas off, like if you're doing a crawl space or an attic, it works even faster, but it's much safer and you don't have that real nasty odor. The other thing is, there's a lot of products that have zinc and silver in them, and they'll tell you, oh, it won't let nothing grow. Yeah. And then the other challenge is, like I said, the only reason I am mentioning this, I don't usually knock products, but I got a lot of people hitting me with this. They have a very good protective, but it will not adhere to smooth surfaces. So things are not always as they appear. And salesmen are very good at telling you, oh, this is it. But they don't tell you, they tell you the truth, but not the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So it gets a little, you want to just scream sometimes. So, and Ed, quit using those 500 grams. God, you're ruining sinks. That's terrible. And just so everyone knows, we learned something else. Ed, when he first said this to us, we're like, that's impossible. So we started doing a lot of testing. And what we discovered was that if you use it 500 or even 100 gram and you try to really agitate it fast, it gases off too fast and could be too powerful, and that could cause things to rust, or you could actually bleach out a wood floor. So just use 1 or 2 bubblers in it, and that's plenty. Don't try and make it go real fast. Go slow so it has the time to do. And we're batting our head against the wall like, what is that doing? How could he be doing this? And then he told me, well, I'm pouring it down the stainless steel sink. And we're like, oh, that's
I was cleaning my bee bucket in the sink before leaving. Big mistake. Hey, I got a question, Craig. I ran across a company called Blue Cities yesterday. Are you familiar with Blue Cities? BLUCITIES?
For some reason, it rings a bell, but say something might click.
I went to their website, and basically they're using a product. I can't remember the name of the product, but it was all hospital grade Log 6, and they had BAC on there. They had pervasive products on there.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if there was a relationship, but I don't know if it was would you say viryl oxide or something?
Well, viryl oxide is an oxidizer, but if they're using pervasive products, they would probably be using nothing but pervasive products.
There was another name on there that they use as a all-purpose, like a chlorine dioxide for odors and mold and viruses, etc. But at BLUCITIES.com, it looks like they've been around for a long time according to their website, and I don't know if it's a franchise or not.
Well, there's a whole lot of things popping up on the market now. Serpro went to chlorine dioxide because they got in trouble with what they were using. The chlorine dioxide is going to become extremely popular. And just know that the one that we have doesn't corrode metal, which is really important when you use that electrostatic sprayer. It does not corrode metal, so that's a very important little plus that we have. By the way, anyone else have questions? You guys are, you guys are good.
Yeah, I got a question about the new website, Craig.
Yeah.
I did contact the guy that designs it. He set mine up with my Hoppy Carpet name. And then I went to the new store and actually put my name and email and got a way to log in. But is the new store not really set up for members? When I log in, it says the member area is not available yet. Is it not done yet? Or is it?
Yes, no, I'll explain that to you. Then it'll make a little bit of sense to you.
Well, like when I go to buy stuff, there's no coupon code yet for the new chlorine bottles at 33 ounce.
You'll be getting your coupon code.
It's coming. Okay.
So that you can buy it at a discount. Then you'll be getting the access code to get into that members area.
Okay.
Now you can still buy. Now I want to make sure I mention this to everyone because it's being recorded. We're keeping both stores. You can buy from either one. The reason I went with the 2 stores was a combination. One, as a matter of fact, I'm glad Ed handled here because I got to tell him, the old store sometimes went down. The other problem, and Ed, it screwed up your charge card again and billed you 5 times, so you're going to see the credits again. Because of this virus, it's been acting up. And when I say acting up, it's been the internet that's been a real nightmare. And I don't want to ever have us where we're screwed. So now I got 2 stores. So if one's down, you got the other one. So you can buy from either one. You're going to get the same prices. But in the new members area, we're going to be putting a lot more marketing things where it's easier to find and access. And we're going to be offering you some additional marketing, I guess we'll call it opportunities to buy some additional things like where we do the everyday direct mail form and things of that nature. So we're going to try and offer you some more things like that. So that's what's happening with it. And by the way, if all of you that are here, Joe, what is the name of your website?
I just did, you can just Google hoppycarpet.com. I mean, you put J Hoppy Carpet in, and you're going to see my YouTube channel from about 8 years ago. So there's lots of,
Yeah.
lots of Google. Just Hoppy, H-O-P-P-E, Hoppy Carpet.
Yeah, Joe has done a fantastic job with his website. So all of you should take a look and get some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other question I guess I have right now. My normal carpet website, it's kind of nice, simple website where I could actually put buttons on it and say, go here and buy the hand sanitizer. The customer clicks it, and then it links it to the store. And it's a really simple website that I've been using for years through FatCow. I really like it because you can drag and drop stuff from your computer. So again, it's more like computers for dummies, because I've had other websites where they're pretty more complicated. You got to have a guy do the code. So the Weebly website is a pretty cool design where they allow me to do photos and video. And that was the thing I learned years ago. Put up a YouTube channel, put in some carpet cleaning videos, and I went to the top of Google. I haven't stayed on top of it. You got to do that stuff every week. You got to do the blog stuff once a month. So the guys that are starting out, if they spend time just once a week doing a blog or a video in their towns, they'll be number one on Google. I don't do it anymore because I have thousands of customers that are calling me, so I just don't do it. But you know, it like what you were saying, you have to do it, especially if things are getting slow. You know, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with the Facebook, and I'm getting texts and I'm getting emails like you, Greg. I mean, people, I can't keep up. I can't afford to pay somebody to do my texting and emails.
well, this is why we're going to the new site too, because the way we're doing it, we'll be doing the blog for you in putting the video up. It'll be uniform. The way Craig Berry had it, each one had to be done, and he wanted so much money to do each one. We're like, you know, like, who are you kidding? No one's going to be able to afford that. And so it'll be much easier. And when you do the what's that called? The SEO will be much easier and much more cost effective for everybody, where it's not, you know, you got to make money. It's like a lot of people go with some of the SEO guys and they're like, oh man, I'm getting $5,000 a month more worth of work. And I'm like, well, how much profit from it? And they're like, what do you mean? I says, well, after you pay for everything, you pay your SEO, how much more are you really making? And then they, you know, they're like, I never figured it out. Then they get back to me and they're like, you know, we're doing $5,000 a month more, but we're not making any money. And I'm like, exactly. You know, you got to make profit. So that's why, and as you noticed, Joe, in the old store, we couldn't change those prices. We don't have those 101s or stuff priced right. And the reason we're changing the name on them, you'll see in the new store, and you'll see as we get the new store for you to have, you'll still be able to have the buttons. We're giving them a new name because it's just what you're going to have. Because people were going online, and what people were doing is what everyone does. They start lowering the price. And when people lower the price, it's a race to the bottom. So this way, we're the only ones with them. And with the story, we don't have to worry about those people who are going to go crazy with the price.
You know, Craig, if I can interrupt, I sell the 102s.
Mm-hmm.
And I got permission to put my own packet together, and I sell them for $30 a piece. They last 3 months.
Exactly.
And let me tell you, I get calls every day from someone wanting to buy it. They know that it's expired. I mean, the problem that I've had with establishing a store directly is I sell the 102s for $30 a piece, and people are willing to pay more for them. I ordered 1,000 of them last year for an RV convention that I sold 100 during the convention. It was just not well attended, but I use them as giveaways, and I sell them to realtors and clients. And I want to put a landing page on my new website, and maybe one of these days Craig Berry will return my email. But but I think, don't give away the farm. These 102s are magic. My second point, real quickly, is, Joel goes to the members only Facebook page. I go there regularly. I think you have to, that's a landing page that we all talk to each other on. Posting ideas and flyers and what works in different markets. I mean, it's great communication, but I'm always seeing the same, 5 or 6 people on that. I really think that y'all should stress the importance of the communication with the members on that Facebook members page. We learn a lot from each other.
That is hard to do because people are very funny. But that's why we're going with this new website. So you won't be using Craig Berry. You'll be having this new one. So you will have your landing page, and you could put your landing page without any problem. And the prices won't be $3.50. They'll be the proper price. And you could have that separate, whatever you're charging for. So yes, we're going to be doing that. That's why you haven't seen the new store yet with the new site, because that's being put together where it makes sense. Because like I say, with the one we had, we couldn't change the prices or anything.
I sell the 102s for $30. And the reason I came up with that price was I did a focus group of about 20 people, and they all said $50. They would pay $50 for it. So I thought, I like $30, $10 a month. You put it in your AC vents, put in your air intake, sanitize the air ducts. You sleep it, put it in the room where the kids have, dirty shoes from sports, or you have someone with asthma. You put it by their bed. I mean, it's a fantastic product, and it's worth far more than the undervalue of most of the members charging.
Well, now I gotta burst your bubble a little. I have a problem. I have to tell the truth. I have a listed phone number. People might not like me, but they'll tell you I never lied or cheated. The 102s do not last 3 months.
I know it depends on the humidity of the environment.
Well, the humidity, the airflow. I know that there's some other people out there that really stretch the truth. I can't do that.
You say 60 days?
Yeah, for a 102 in a bedroom, 60 days easily. The 101's 30 days easily. But 3 months, no, not the way to do it.
Well,
yeah.
Craig, I have to tell you, down here in Florida, I've been putting in my AC vents since we got those, and I noticed that they come in a round bead, and then they eventually turn to dust.
Yes.
I've been dating mine, and even some of the 101s I got more than 60 days. I got some 102s in there that made it almost 3 months. They weren't 100% dust, but you can tell they turn to dust. But that's up in an AC system on the filter where it's got airflow, and it's not, it's a cool, 77 like all year round. So again, definitely humidity and temperature, but I'm getting more than 60 days out of mine up in the AC system.
I'm just afraid to say that because I want to be very honest. So more than 60 days, I'm afraid to make that statement. Yes, it will still be there, but it won't have that punch that
Right.
you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And I, maybe I'm overkill, but I just, and by the way, working on something new.
Well, you sound like me with the Zuno. I don't want to tell people 90 days either.
Well, yeah, well, now the Zuno.
Go spray it every 30 days, not 90.
Yeah, the Zuno will last 30 days on a doorknap.
Right, I know. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, but yeah, and I understand it completely because you don't want to. You want to be really honest with the people, and if you are, they come back and they tell everybody. Now we went over an hour, and we usually try to keep this about an hour. Does anyone else have any questions? And you guys are good. And I'm going to send you all another invitation for a Zoom meeting. The next one will be on technical. So we're going to have one a month on technical, and we're going to have one a month on marketing. But what I want you all to do, get your business Facebook page up. Start making a list of your customers. I want to stress this. Try to get emails. Get a large map. Start getting the pins and hit a pin everywhere where you got a job. I can't tell you how important it is. And when you see where you have your jobs and you see your advertisement, you're going to really be amazed at what you're going to discover. Any other questions before we go? I don't want to keep you guys too long. Any other questions?
Hey, thank you, Craig. Appreciate your information and the value you bring.
Well, no, I appreciate all you guys. You all have a wonderful one. Remember, if you have any questions, call me. All of you have a blessed night. I'll see you all in a couple weeks. And remember, call me with any questions.